We're just going to have a look at Google Chrome. You all have a Google account at your isdl.org account, and Google Chrome is a fast type of web browser. So there's quite a lot you can do to customize this account to make it specific to you. So I want you to have a go with that in this session today. The first thing you need to do is make sure that you're signed on to your Google account. So if I go to this bit here and go to my settings, can you see it says sign into Chrome. When you sign into Chrome, it means whatever you do now will be done on every single machine that you're signed into. So if you get your bookmarks right and everything else right, then you've got this Chrome that can carry with you. It also means every time you open up Chrome, it will give you the same look each time. So I'm going to sign into Chrome. And because I want to show you from scratch, I'm going to sign in with an account that hasn't got anything done to it, just so I can show you what it looks like. Okay, so that's me signed into my account. The other thing, we can have a look down, so it says I'm connected to my account. When I start up, I want to open a new tab. You can have a specific page you want to open up when you set your pages there. You can look at your appearance. I always want to search with Google, so I make sure this has been selected here. I want it to be my default browser, so I make sure that's selected there. On this appearance here, I want to make sure I always show the bookmark bar, and I'll explain why in a minute, but I always want to see the bookmark bar. Okay, so I'm happy with those settings there. Then what we can do is, once we've gone through these settings here, we're happy with what we've got, we can start altering the way your actual bar looks at the moment. And let me just show you what I mean. If I go to ISDL, our school homepage, two things I'm going to do with this. One is I want this school homepage to be easy accessible. So I'm just going to drag it onto this bookmark bar. So I clicked on that, I dragged it down. It now means it's accessible. If I go to quick links from here and I go to manage back. Now I know I'm going to need manage back on a reasonably regular basis. So I can click on this here, drag it down, and it's called login at the moment, but that's a link to my manage back. I go here, go back to the school website. If I would suggest that the school website's quite useful on that one, and also for Schoology for you guys. You're going to be using Schoology a lot, and you'll see that it's just here under ISDL VLE. And again, I would click and I would drag Schoology onto there. You see it's all got this login. It's not that pretty. What you can do is you can go into here, the tabs again, bookmarks, and here bookmark manager. And you go, right, I'd like to rename these. So they might look slightly different the way this looks on each of your pages. I wouldn't worry about that. So here I'm going to call this manage back. This one here, I'm going to edit it. I'm going to call it Schoology. Now it might not look the same on your Chrome the way you edit it, but this is roughly what you need to go through. So once you've got the ones that you think are going to be useful, I would suggest a minimum you've got ISDL, manage back, Schoology, and Naviance. The next thing you need to think about is bookmarks you might want. So at the moment I have no folders on here, but for example, if I go back into my, I can show you two ways. You can right click on here and add a folder. I'm going to call this folder IB Computer Science. Keep them short. So I've got this folder. If I then find a page that I think is useful for this, so I think the Computer Weekly is going to have lots of information for me for my computer science course. I can bookmark this page and it'll ask, where do you want me to put it? And I'm going to put it into this folder. So it might be that you've got folders for different subjects or different things that you find useful. So a couple of things. When I bookmarked, I obviously went to the word bookmark here. You can equally just go here go to the bookmarks and bookmark the page there. Also on your bookmark manager, you'll see that now that folder that I added there now appears here. You can rename it. You can also go into the folder, and if there's stuff you don't want, you can obviously delete it from there. You don't have to keep things in, so you can just delete them if they're not relevant. I said there was more than one way to make a folder. The other way, if you wish to do it, is that you can just go folder here. Make sure you're under the bookmark bar. That's why we wanted to add it in the original place so that it was available. You go to folder, add folder. Now this folder is going to appear inside the IBCS folder. If I put it into the up there, then it appears as a new folder along here. Going to bookmark. And you can give that folder a new name. Going to bookmark bar, and obviously you're going to rename it. I will call this. Now, I'm not suggesting you need a folder for every single subject, because I'm going to show you other ways throughout the time that we do lots of little courses like this to collate information using things like Evernote or Digo or Listy, or there's lots of other ways you can collate this information. This is just a way for things that you need regularly, that you're regularly going to need access to, or if you're browsing around and this is a way that works for you. It will not work for everybody. The shortcuts will. Shortcuts are really useful. The folders might not, and I'm going to show you different methods and you can choose the method that suits you best. So I'd like you to customize your Chrome. I'd like you to make sure that you've got the main school site so they're easy to access, possibly along the top here. I'd like you to add any folders that you think are going to be useful to you. And make sure that you're happy with the way this looks. If you've managed to do that, I'd like you to add some bookmarks to a couple of your folders. On your Google account, you've also noticed you have this here. If you click on here, you can see the select things that you can select. So Mail and Drive are the two things we're going to quickly have a look at. These are just shortcuts of things that you can do within Drive. And we'll have a little calendar as well. So Drive, most of you should be familiar with this. Definitely when you're working at high school, we use the Drive a lot. You can add folders to it, you can organise it. It's your drive, you organise it however you wish. Your drive is where everything that you create and share is kept. Shared with me is where anything that's been shared with you goes to. You can either just view it from there or you can drag it into here. If you look at the search facilities, you can search for a type of file. It opens with who owns it, so it gives you some ideas of the things that you can search for when you're searching in Drive when you're trying to find something that you're looking for. You've also got your calendar. Some people use this as a nice way to organise what they're doing, so they can put their times. You can sync it potentially to your phone if you wish to. So there's a way you can enter information to help organise what's going on in the calendar. And then you have your mail. I'd recommend at the moment, I've got 522 messages here, and this is, I'm speaking now at the end of the summer term. I'll delete these before the end, so I've got a clear system apart from anything that I need to keep. I recommend that you use some time today just to delete in the mails that are no longer relevant for you here. Within the mail system, there is also the search. So you can search for who it's from, who it's to, what subject, what words are included. So it's very, very complex search you can do here. You can also, if you wish, go to more, and you can make what is called manage labels and create new labels. Labels are like little folders. So I've created two here, one called housekeeping and one called pupils work. You just create label, give it a name. So if I wanted this particular thing to move, go to move, and it say where do I want to move it to. Some people like folders, some people don't like folders. As long as you can organise your own thing, that's absolutely fine. But you must make sure that you can organise your mail and that you understand what's in there, because we use this a lot to communicate with you. You must delete old messages. I recommend at least at the end of each year you delete your messages that are not relevant. But I probably would do it every couple of months. Realistically, you should be using this every single day. This is how people communicate with you. You get a lot of staff communication through here, and if you don't read it, it's not the staff's fault, it's yours for not reading it. So you must make sure you understand the mail system here at school. With your bring your own device, one thing I want to stress is backing up. Here's like a definition of backing up, which is copying a file from one place to another to keep a copy of it, so if the original is lost or damaged, you've still got a copy. We do this automatically for you at school. So when you're using the school computers, we back up that data. As soon as stuff is stored on your own computer, we are not backing that up. So if something happens to it, that is your responsibility. So there's a couple of things that I would think about. One, if you do your work in the Google environment, automatically it is saved here. So if, for example, your machine crashes halfway through your work, then whatever you've done so far will be saved here. Some of you might have Dropbox. So that's my Dropbox icon here. I use Dropbox as a way of storing some files. You could also use it as a way of backing up. Finally, I use an external hard drive. I like to have a physical backup of my work that is not saved with the laptop, so that if something happens, e.g. my laptop gets stolen or it is damaged, the hard drive is damaged, then I have a backup of everything I have done. You should be backing up at least once a month. At least once a month. But some of you might back up more than that. How you choose to back up is entirely up to you, but it's something I want you to think about because we will be discussing it later in the year. I personally think it's great to have an online cloud-based backup. So, for example, you might choose Dropbox, you might choose to put it in My Drive, but equally, I think it's really important to have somewhere anything that you're producing on the machines, an actual hard copy backup as well. That's something I want you to think about. You can't do that now, but think about, how am I going to back up? It is essential that you do this. So you need to consider what method would suit you best. So we've had a look at the different things in the Google environment, looked at Drive, looked at your calendar, looked at mail, all things that you'll probably be using on a regular basis. The other thing you have in Google is the apps. With the apps, you have what's called a web store. So you'll have some that are standard apps, say Google Docs, Google Drive, but the web store allows you to get other apps. Some you pay for, but most of which are free. And they enhance your Google environment. So they allow you to do things, for example, Pixel Art Editor here. It's a great little app if you want to be editing images. It's got some of the functionality of Photoshop, not quite as good, obviously, because it's free, but a good functionality. GIMP is a really lovely art app. Amazing Sciences is a reasonable app, especially if you're doing AP or IB Sciences. Want to have a look at it. Pixel Express is moving on from that, so it's more work on your images. Flashcard Stash, really nice to be making flashcards. Instagrog helps with research skills. Google Keep is a note taker, and we will be looking at it in the next session. And it helps you, take notes and decide on, organise your thoughts and ideas. MindMister, great for mind mapping. The Biodigital Human, lovely 3D little bit of resource that allows you to build and take apart the human skeleton and the muscles so you can see how things work. Evernote, another really nice one for collating information, collating websites and notes. I will talk you through this in a following session. TweetDeck if you're into Twitter. The good thing about apps is that they give you more functionality. So it makes Chrome beyond just being a web browser. It allows you to actually look at all these different apps and things you can add onto it. As well as the apps here, you have extensions along the top. These are things that work with the apps that you have. For example, here I have Memorize, which is a little app that you can put in test questions and then they will throw the test questions as you're working. This one, Stay Focused, is quite a nice one, and it allows you to block sites. So if you know that you want to be doing some revision and you know you're not very good at making yourself focused, then you can use a Stay Focused app for that. AP Ad Blocker is really good. It stops ads, prevents the ads that you get. This allows me to add things straight away to Evernote. This allows me to add things to lists. There's such a big, diverse variety of apps. What I'd like you to do is look at maybe 2 or 3 apps that you think are useful. Best way to go about this to start with is to search in Google, not surprisingly, useful educational apps, apps that are used in the classroom, apps that could help me with study skills. See what apps you can find.